Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. It is your business besties, Ronnie Bartles, Ashley Rhoda, brand strategist, business strategist. Oh my gosh, a little bit of both. Who knows?
It's one of those days. It's like the Mondayest Monday ever, and it's Thursday.
Oh my gosh. So before we went live, we came up with this incredible title of Hey Ronnie, what should we talk about today? And the more that we talked about it, the more we were like, we should just go live, because this is, as Ronnie was saying, what we all do when we sit down to create content, or you want to do a new masterclass, a new course, a new anything, a new service, a new product. There is a phase of brainstorming and I don't know what I'm doing phase. And also, like, what should I be doing?
Well, it's that like blank page like syndrome of you sit down to a blank page and like, I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
I don't know what to talk about. I don't know where to start. And you're just staring at a blank page. And so this might be our shitty first draft today.
Oh, yes, the FSD. I love FSD. So for anyone that doesn't know this, I personally came up with this. It's called FSD, first shitty draft, that no one will ever see. You and your team are like, God, how do we make these things? They're so bad. Like, and yet the results we create from that FSD is just mind blowing. So maybe that's what we call it.
Except for when you have a talk show and we go live. And
then it's our FSD. Yeah. No, it was actually, that actually inspired something for me, is as a brand strategist and someone who creates the identity of companies, I often am starting with blank slate and hard facts, and to create a visual from that. Like, how do I do that? Like, for me, I call it inspiration sourcing or inspiration hunting. And like, how do I do that? So maybe that we should talk about that. Like, how do you find inspiration for your marketing work and operational work? And how do we find inspiration for branding? That might be something.
Yeah. I mean, I know from a content creation perspective, I'm really bad about the like blank page. I am one of those. And I tell my clients a lot of times, if you can give me one sentence, I can start from there. But like staring at the blank page is just so hard. So for me, from a marketing perspective, I always start with data, like who's the customer? What are my data points there? Like, who's the customer, number one, and two, then I do the whole marketing calculator and go, okay, now I need to know what's your conversion rate on your website, what's your conversion rate on your ads, and then kind of be able to pinpoint then where I need to be inspired to like work on that marketing flow of stuff.
Right. And probably the end goal too, right? Like what the whole point of the marketing is for, and like all of that. So yeah, that makes sense. I remember in art class, they used to teach us this thing. If you had a blank page in front of you and you didn't know what the canvas was meant to be, you could either put a single polka dot in the center of the page, or this is my favorite, you turn around with the canvas behind you and you throw the pencil behind you wherever the polka dot lands. And then you would just kind of gaze at it and something would come out of it. It was the weirdest thing, but it like put something on the page so that then your eye could just kind of fill in the rest, if that makes sense. So,
I mean, that's kind of like me in my one sentence, like.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah. For me, oh my gosh, my inspiration is so weird. It's a variety. Sometimes it's the dry white page and I'm like, I don't know, and I have to go out hunting for it. And other times it's very intuitive and I'll get like signs or thoughts or something that kind of is the catalyst to it. So depending on the project, usually I don't have a blank page unless it's somebody asking me to work outside of my process, which I usually I'm trying not to do anymore, but I had that come up recently. So, going through all of that. But I would say when I'm inspiration hunting, similar to you have the client in mind, right? So I do too. I've got the client in mind. I've got their target audience. I've got their desire of presentation, how they want to look, feel, be seen, associated with all of these things. And my hardest part is that I have 100 points that I have to somehow connect and find that common denominator. So I love getting out of my environment. So often I'm going to places that encourage creativity, art stores, Hobby Lobby, craft stores, TJ Maxx, anything where there might be like parts that could be put together into something, or inspiration on end caps in real estate, retail. Doesn't really happen so much through creativity, through conversation. Showers, I get a lot of downloads. So I have a whiteboard in my shower that I just, write ideas on. And sometimes my favorite thing to do, I have this wall, we'll see what I have in Chicago, is I like to take inspiration, the fact sheets, data points, and just lay them out on my wall so I can see the whole thing. And like one of those murder boards, draw the lines of connection of things. And sometimes you have to sit with it and just let it like present itself, I love and bless people that are able to do time blocking, where at 2:00 on a Thursday, they're gonna, from 2 to 3 create a logo. I wish I was you.
Yeah,
not like that. Yeah. It's like I'm driving in my car, or I'm walking down a hallway or something, and that's how the inspiration hits. So
yeah, this is more of a question than anything else, but so I do know like my times. So I know that like in the morning is my like very task oriented stuff. Like in the morning, I need to like return emails and like do bookkeeping and administrative stuff. My creative times are like between 4 and 6 p.m. Like I know my times of like when my flow is. Do you have something similar?
10 to 2 a.m.
Okay. Mine's afternoon.
Super night out.
Oh, yeah.
10 to 2 a.m. is it. So if I really need to trigger it, I will take a nap generally from like 4 to 6, which I know for most people are like, that's not a nap, that's a day. You do you. Anyways, I do me for 4 to 6. I'll take a nap. Then I'll have like dinner and kind of set the tone and get either tea or it's usually tea, honestly. I was going to act bougie and be like wine. That's not me. But I usually do tea, and then it's something about at night, everything gets quieter. There's no people are asleep. I know I'm not going to be disturbed, and I can just kind of open up to everything.
Yeah. Mine's at like 4 to 7 ish. And unlike you, mine is a glass of wine. Like it just is relaxing enough that like it helps flow into it.
I have always wondered if I live in the wrong time zone. I would love for someone to keep me accountable on this when I get to Chicago and see if it gets earlier. Cause I've always felt like I am such a night owl that I wonder if I was in a different time zone, if I'd still be 10 to 2 a.m. I know that sounds weird because we all acclimate to the time zone, but I swear it's just something I've always wondered.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting to see because I wouldn't necessarily consider myself a night owl. I mean, in the grand scheme of between the two, I'm more of a night owl. I've always said that I think that morning people have a conspiracy against night owl people because like, I just don't, okay. This is pet peeve of mine. I have a ton of morning people friends or colleagues, and every single time they're like, let's get together and talk. They're like, let's do it at 8 a.m. I'm like, fuck you, I'm still in bed. Like,
I know. It's that, for me, it's like before, so at 9, I'm good. Like if I have a 9 a.m., I can make it happen. But before 9, I'm pointless to the world. Like you want anything out of me? Like, I might snuggle you, but I got nothing for you.
Even
before
that,
9 a.m. I'm just like, hi, can I got nothing. Like the cats are ready for it, but
but morning people are really specific about they have to meet in the morning. Like they won't bend, but they make night people bend. And that drives me a little crazy.
Not to call anyone out, but like BNI groups that meet at 7 a.m. I remember
No.
I'm gonna call her out on this just so I can make fun of her and she can see it publicly happening. So, my bestie Leilani, she's in BNI, and hello to Dragon. So she calls me the one time, she's like, hey, I need you as a guest, please come. So, it's the early things. And I'm like, sure. She's like, all you have to do is look good. And I'm like, okay, at 7, I can make that happen. Like I can be mute and put on a face. I can do that. Then they do the like round of introductions. Guess who's first?
You, because you're
and
the
it's
guest.
in a different framework than I'm used to, and they have that very like structured way of like introducing yourself. I could barely say my name is Ashley and I'm a brand strategist. I was like,
who am I?
Where am I? Like I'm what do you call that again? I make shit pretty maybe, but there's a nice way I say that. Yeah. Something about being iconic and like details and like and I was like, this has got to be the worst introduction.
Yeah. Well, in the more like I do get up fairly early just because Lucy's got to have her medicine and like there's things to do, but do not talk to me. Like I solidly need like an hour before you even talk to me.
Like, I know. I'm very eager because I'm manifesting a relationship. So I'm curious how that's going to go down because I've lived alone for so long. I almost feel like what do you call that? Like animal that's lived in captivity for too long or something. Like I just have my ways. Like
there's a lot of talking. There's a lot of talking. So many words.
So many words, like yeah.
I love Alan, but there's a lot of talking.
Yeah. I'm a talker though. As you know, as my bestie, I'm a talker. So that might work out for me.
See, and I am not, but don't expect me to listen either. So.
Right, there you go. I think for me, it's more like yeah, I don't know. I do get quite, because I'm still an ambivert. So while my entire life and tendencies lean towards extroverted, if I need to recharge and all the things, I go introverted. So it's definitely interesting.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, back to inspirations.
Like trying to block him.
That's my inspiration right there is that cat.
You know what's so funny? I feel like he doesn't do this except for our talk days. Like he gets so into like, let's climb the jungle.
He wants to be a star and I don't blame him. I don't blame him. Don't we all?
Isn't it called live art? I think it's called live art. It like moves around behind, or like there's an active motion into it. I mean, I know live art is usually the nude drawing, but I think there's another version of it as well that's like this. Oh no, not the strings. So some people call it birth control, others call it pet control, but
yeah,
I'm just gonna let him do his thing, and then as soon as that's rowdy, I'll fix it. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So let's see what else is on the docket. I think another thing I always look at is like what's coming up in the schedule, like what's happening client wise, inspiration, all the things, the state of the world.
And I always find myself, the busier I am, the more inspiration I do have. Actually, it's kind of
I can't. I'm like, really? Come on, dude. Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those like a body in motion stays in motion. So the busier I am, kind of because in my brain, I know I have to get stuff done. And I'm a procrastinator. So like I work well under pressure. So that tends to be a motivator for me to get inspired for stuff.
I can't. I just can't.
He's really into it.
He's into it. I can't decide. Do I get up and fix this? I feel like I should. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop the camera and see what happens. I may leave completely and be right back, but I'm going to just take a moment for the meow. There we go. Do you mind? Hi. Like, no. Oh, okay. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, the cat's not dead, I promise. He's still alive. Anyway.
He's not happy, but he's still alive.
Yeah, I do like my life led by cats. They just keep every day like that fun. So you don't really know. But anyways, looking at the world events and things like what's on the board. I know we have a client share referral thing coming up to work on. I've have one client that just launched her website today, which I'm excited about. I have a graphic design project that I took on a whim for a series of masterclass videos, and she launched those live. So that was kind of new for me. I'd never seen my work or my creation used like that, and just a graphic, just a thing. So that was kind of neat to see and be like, okay, I like it, that was cool. I do graphic design as part of my projects, but never like a one-off thing. So she got me in a good day, I guess. And let's see. I mean, we only have today and tomorrow, right? Oh, I'm going to a soccer game tomorrow night. That's fun. Shout out to our Thorns team. That'll be fun.
Oh. That'll be a lot of fun. So is it like as hot there as it is here? Okay. Yeah. I mean,
it's at night. I think it's at 6 o'clock or so. So we have to get there like an hour early. So I think it'll be a little bit cooler, but yeah, it's hot as hell.
Yeah, it is here
but not as humid. I think you have it worse, so you win.
Yeah, no, it's definitely hot and humid here. Like we're melting. It's that time of the year. Like we'll melt for the next month.
Yeah, it's hot here. It definitely is hot. Heat wave hot, but yeah.
I mean, it's kind of hot everywhere, I feel like. He's back.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, thinking you mentioned like current events, so I think it might be interesting for us to talk a little bit about, and something that I kind of feel like I want to talk about a little bit is, so our mutual coach friend Shauna has been really talking lately about like running your business intuitively and like making decisions based on that. And before the call, you and I just mentioned like all of this astrological stuff that's happening. And I know that neither one of us are like this super woo, but definitely into it.
We're more woo than the majority woo.
Probably like woo adjacent for sure. So like talk a little bit about like how you run your business intuitively. Like you talk about that a lot, like you get downloads, like.
Yeah. I really love this question, so thank you. But I'm also a little dumbfounded because I don't know how to explain it. Do you mind?
Most intuitive people don't, though.
Yeah. Okay, so how do I run my business intuitively? First, for a long time, it was in denial. Like I didn't think that like when I'll explain all of this, but the signs, the downloads, the feelings, the gut hits were a thing. I thought it, I don't know. I don't know what I thought it was, but I just didn't give it credit. Let me put it that way. Now, when I run my business intuitively, what that means is I see it in a couple of ways. So just kind of going through my whole process, weird things happen, which again is not weird. It's part of this. But for example, on my last 2 projects ago, I started collecting all of this rose gold things. Like they kept coming into my world. Like I went to the craft store and I was buying pins, and somehow I got a rose gold pin, and then I got something else that was rose gold. The next project turned out that the client was black and white primarily for the brand colors with a hint of rose gold, because that was her professionalism yet feminine flair in a metallic. And it was like creepy, like, and I get goosebumps. That's the other thing. It's kind of like when I get goosebumps, that's usually a sign of truth or potency or accuracy, like you're headed in the right direction, or speak more on that, like go that way. So sometimes there's signs and weird things that come up that way. Other times it's I work with my clients in a very interview and like conversation based way. And it's often just, I don't know, I have a freak factor that I pick up when you say certain things, or like someone may have moved on and I'm like, wait, what was that? Like, tell me more about that. There's something there. That one, like I got goosebumps, both sides on that. Sometimes I get them in my scalp, and that's a really big deal. Like, it gets cold almost, and what's our weather right now? It's like 80 degrees. 90, I have goosebumps head to toe. Like that doesn't make sense. Then, the shower downloads. So the way that I like to explain it, so I was trying to explain it to my parents at one point because they've always been very supportive of it, but I don't know that they have it. So like when I was younger, I had what some people would assume associate with like psychic moments. I knew a family member was going to die from cancer. I had a ghost presence. I could feel just different things. And the way I explain it is like, I know this is going to sound really stupid, but play along here. If I say 2 + 2 equals, did you hear kind of 4 in your head? Hear it? That's what it's like when I get a download, except I'll be asking a question. And instead of knowing an answer, like the answer is 4, I might throw out like, what would be the perfect color palette for this company? Or what would be the accent color I need? And I'll hear the same way you just heard kind of 4 in your mind. I'll get like, go with green or go with whatever. And other times it'll be like, she didn't say this, ask about that. So it's not like I wish I'm not clairaudient, which is you can hear voices. I wish people, like if I could tune in like a little radio, I would do it. But just, it's like a knowing that comes up for me in the same way that if we play the game, you know, apples and oranges or peanut butter and jelly. The way that that internal dialogue comes in is like what I hear for cues into my work. And often what I find is people will say things like, there's no way you could have known that. How did you come up with that? There's a deeper meaning behind that. One of my favorite people, Kelly Mooney Photography, shout out to her on her project. I had no idea, but I started acquiring and getting a lot of downloads about sand dollars. See, sand dollars, you know what I'm talking about? Turns out it was an entire inner circle family lineage thing about sand dollars. There's no way I could have known that. Weird things like that. So some people, if you're skeptical, could say that it's coincidental. Other people could say like it's, educated guesses on things. But the way it usually shows up is so different that that's what gives me the woo into it. I'll just out myself. I've been attracted to woo since I was little. So back, I just remember, I mummified a Barbie in the 4th grade, and that started helping me get into Egyptology and hieroglyphics and gods. When I grew up, my parents were Christian. So, there was a God, not multiple gods. And I was really attracted to that idea of like, how can we have one dude that runs everything? Like, I don't know. Now, this isn't against any religion. This is just what my brain was into. Then I started going into the woo stores that you've seen, people might call them witch stores or whatever, with the tarot cards and the crystals and all that stuff, right? But I just, like young, like I'm talking 8th grade, had this thirst to know about it. Like I just wanted to learn about it. Other people were reading, I don't know, that reading list that was always required, like whatever the people that have you read this? I wasn't reading that. I was reading the Bhagavad Gita or I'm just trying to think like religious texts, all these things. And I couldn't get enough of it. And what I couldn't also deny was that there was something in it, like if I carried a certain crystal with me, I felt a certain way. And if I pulled a card, it was so freaking accurate to what I was sitting there doing. I couldn't not. And then one of the things that I always have is like, I do woo in my home. So I have 4 quartz crystals in all 4 corners and one in the center. It creates what in Egypt believed is like a magic pyramid of protection that keeps your space safe. Sorry. Then I have I smudge when like this week, shit's going wild. I feel like, why not smoke out any negative energy? It's like choking the negativity. Why wouldn't you? Like, it doesn't hurt anyone to run around with this. And if you put a little belief and faith in it, I believe anything is that, whether we're mainstream religion or making your own or whatever it is, that intuitiveness, just whatever seems to kind of tap in for you and help you hear orange a little bit louder. That's kind of what I do. And I think what's been interesting is I have something I'm grateful for, but also a challenge is I can relate to anyone. And they've often said, like, I don't know why I feel like I can tell you this, but I can tell you this. I get a lot of people confiding and confessing in me, and I hold a very high moral standard for myself that I don't judge, I don't tell, I don't anything, unless I've always had one rule, unless it harms themselves or someone else, like tell me anything. And I think that also brings in an element to my work, whether it's intuitive woo or not, that is an element as well.
Yeah, I have that similar kind of thing with people, in that people confide a lot of stuff in me, and and people will say to me, how do you just get me? You just get me.
Yes.
I'm like, and it's an energy thing for me, for sure. I'm definitely on that like high sensitivity kind of energy level, but also I listen.
Yes.
And I think that, you know, I've talked about this even before in other conversations we have, like in business and when you're making connections with people, listening is a skill that we need to cultivate more of, because we don't listen. And I feel like with people, other people, our goal in lives is to be seen. Right? Like that's really what it's all about. We want to be seen and understood, and I don't mean that like in seen in like a famous way, right? Like they just want other people to see me, right? And so I think that's where listening kind of comes in really heavily on that.
You know, that's something else too. Thank you for saying that, because I see people, but I also have like, again, another freak factor, I call it. And everybody's like, stop calling it a freak factor, just own it. Well, you know what? It's my freak factor, back off. Anyways, I'm on it. I'm in a mood today, people, but bear with me here. When I, especially in person, I can still do it in Zoom. I get like, the person I'm talking to gets just kind of blurry. The best way I could say it is like if I took off my glasses, the person gets kind of blurry, and I just kind of want to move them, because it's like their soul essence is behind them. And that is sometimes what's giving me the the orange moment. Like, you're saying this, like I hear you saying this to me, but what I really hear and see you saying, and when you talk about seeing, especially on the woo, I think you have this too. We just have an ability to see. I see whether it's connections, like connecting the dots. I see data in a different way. I see people in a different way. I see your soul, which scares a ton of people. But as you know, there's another element, human design. I'm a projector. We literally have the ability. Our aura is very potent and pure, and we literally can see your, what do I always say? Your ultimate self, like the highest capacity and possibility you have. Now, whether you choose to be that or not is always my disappointment, but I can see it. And so that's often caused an issue for me, especially in personal relationships, because I can see this version of people and they don't always choose it. And so that can be very disappointing for me, or like when I try and make those connections or try and help someone. Again, that's where I've had to learn in my own woo what my role is and when I'm allowed to and when I'm not. It's interesting. I have been in many fights with family members for my ability, yet people pay me top dollar for it. So it's like in the right place at the right time, you have to use these things. Yeah. And I think that's how I would explain my woo. Also, like when I, you know, my thing that I say, being conscious, intentional, and symbolic, I think the consciousness, if we're talking on a woo level, is just doing the maintenance necessary to keep myself open to all of this and give it the credit it deserves. Intentionality is big for me. I feel like, especially, I mean, you know, I just don't feel that people live intentionally as much as I wish they could. Harsh words about to come out, but passive by default, standard, whatever, complacency.
Floating through life.
Oh my God, it's like nails on a chalkboard for me. And that's hard. It's really hard for me. I can't, because unfortunately my soul calling is intention. So like, it's just hard for me to see it when others don't, but that's not theirs, right? It's on me to meow, meow, meow. And then symbolic is just, this woo thing I've had since I was little. It came out yesterday and in a story, we were talking about my trip, very blessed over here. So take it with a grain of salt, but I went to Greece when I was 10 and we were touring the Pantheon and all of the historical sites and things. And one of the things that we got to see was Alexander the Great's son's tomb. And on the tomb doors is this huge star. Well, it's debatable if you want to be real specific on iconography, star, sun, compass, called the Macedonian star. And it came back up yesterday with some of the astrological things that are happening. And it goes back to Alexander the Great times. And that's like a moment of woo. Like, what are the odds of that coming up? And then me running into the closet to be like, you mean this star that I wore for 10 years at 10, like when I was a little kid, like, just weird. And then you get these hits. Like, I understood archaeology and iconography and symbolism when I was little, but now with even more years of experience, I just put things together even more. And it's just, that's where it's like, I was saying, I don't think I always give myself credit for what I have, because I put a comparison to it of like psychics that are, talking to people and all these things. But I do know I am claircognizant, which is, I know things. My abilities come through knowing and seeing. So for those, there's fancy words in every part of life, right? But claircognizant, clairaudient, you hear things; clairvoyant, you see things. There's a few others I think we're missing. Just put
I think there's like 5
word, and you'll get close to what we're talking about. And you know what, I like it because it allowed me to build a belief system that worked for me and honored others. I could see parts of what I believe in each religion and culture and diversity, yet freedom to do it in a way that I felt honored what I saw to be true in the world.
It's just, I find it interesting that, it's a topic that's been coming up a lot. I've seen it like pop up a lot lately. And it just is curious for me, like how do people do it? Because my brain is so very logical. And while I have it too, but my brain wants logic to take over. I'm like, but how do you do that? Like, how do you actually do that?
Like, that's the annoying part is, I'm linear logical as well. Like, let's all be honest. I studied pre-med pretty much my whole life. I love data as much as you love data points. Yet also, I think I've really ignored this artsy, creative, woo, intuitive side of me for a long time. And the more I let it in, it just, interesting. One thing I will say is, my approach to woo is very much, and I'm trying not to say this, but I keep thinking it, so I will, build a bear. It's very build a bear in my head. There's a lot of people that, and in any religion, there's a right way of following the practice and a right way of doing it. And I think a lot of people get stuck in that. If they're not a perfect psychic and a full, like, I could charge, $95 an hour for this, they think they don't have it. But if you spend enough time in the world, you'll see in this world, what I mean is every single person will tell you everyone has abilities of woo. Some would say psychic ability, some would say energetic ability. We all are energy, like take it down to the take it down to quantum physics. They'll start talking about it. Even mainstream medicine talks about it. One of my favorite things in the human body is the pacemaker cells of the heart. They have no scientific proof, as far as I know to date, as to why the pacemaker cells of the heart start. They just create such energy in them that the electricity starts at a certain point of the, growth process, and the heart beats. That to me was always magic. And I suffered in sciences when they started explaining things. I remember when I learned that a rainbow was refracted light off of water droplets, my world kind of cracked that day. I just wanted rainbows to be magical. Okay. Like it really ruined it for me.
Right.
So, you know, some of it's blind faith, but there's no right, in my opinion, again, my opinion, there's no right way to be woo. It's awareness of yourself. Again, that consciousness of like, interesting. Like one thing I know about you, you love rocks. We joke about this, but rocks and gemstones and stones, and you're a Taurus. So for you, I just see there's a connection. You are an earth element that likes the rock stone. So keeping those around you, what does that do? Do you notice, is it different when you wear a diamond ring versus an emerald ring? Is there a scent? A lot of things are scent based. So using all of the 5 senses, like it's almost like a game. Like, what happens when I put these, you know, elements around me? Something opens up, or I hear things, I see things, I notice things. Like it's a game, it's a hobby. I mean, people get this into like wearing Fitbit watches and knowing what their metabolic rate is and what, you know, fatty acids it is. It's just, if you're interested in it, I think that's where people go down this rabbit hole of finding things. But I'm going to be honest with you too. I don't really notice a lot of energy from rocks. Like when I hold them, I'm not one of these people that I'm like I just no. Sound bath healing sounds cool. Feels kind of neat. Not sure. Reiki, I studied acupuncture. It hurts. Like it doesn't do anything for me because I'm needle phobic. I literally get no response from it. I hear wonderful things for other people. I tried to be a person of it. It's a thing. So again, that's where I just like to give people I engage with the permission to explore it, have fun with it, and give yourself grace to be like, that works for me or that doesn't work for me, and just find the things that resonate for you.
I think that really also correlates with a lot of business owners in what you said about like these finite ways of what you should do in certain realms of religion or woo or whatever it might be, of these like rules around it that you have to follow to be that. And I think we do that in our businesses as well.
I think I need to take my own advice on that one, because thank you for that. That was a really good reframe and true. Yeah, I definitely get sparkle syndrome of like, ooh, shiny.
I mean,
like, I am a course whore. I claimed it in public. I own it. If you have a course, I'm going to want to take it. I love to study. Again, being a projector, one of the things that, I mean, here's the other thing. I could be a Taurus. I could be a watery Taurus. I could be a projector. I could be, and what am I, ENTJ or something? There's so many personality tests too. You know, I was on a call and someone came up with like financial archetypes. And I was like, God damn it, another one.
I need to take that test.
And I think, you know, here's what I have to say about mastery is, in the beginning, we need archetypes and structures of I'm a Taurus, I'm a entrepreneur versus I'm a business owner. We need those frameworks to kind of build our base. But after that, which I don't think they give credit to the transition phase, because you don't really know what's happening until you're in it, and then you get vertigo and all this other crap in the morning. Hashtag we should talk about ascension sickness. But you do get to that point, and I think I'm at that point, and you just gave me permission to realize I need to build a bear of my business instead of all these other things, because I'm definitely up leveling. And one thing I just mentioned, but I'll say it again, is ascension sickness is something that I don't think people really give credit to. It's like, so ascension sickness is when you go from one, what I'm going to just call level of understanding the world, who you are, what you're doing, everything on this, to the next level. And it's called ascension sickness, just like altitude or up or anything. You basically get the lightheaded, dehydration, sickness. Some people will get actual like colds minus some of the normal symptoms. Like you feel like you're run down like a cold, but you may not be sneezing like a cold or something. And it always manifests in different ways. But this morning, I'll give you an example. I shot out of bed, like up straight. With vertigo. The whole room was spinning, like like I thought I was gonna projectile vomit, get so sick. I hate vertigo. I get it so bad. And I sat up so fast, I think it turned my inner ear enough that it like stopped it slowly, and just like waddling to the bathroom to just get like my vertigo drops. It's basically motion sickness. And then to realize I'm out of, oh, it starts with a D. Dramamine.
Dramamine.
Yeah. I was like, this is gonna suck. Just like sitting there like crap. And for me, one of the things I get is ascension sickness. And vertigo is how the universe likes to tell me I'm at the next level. And it sucks. The hot flashes, the sickness. It's like if you've ever gotten the spins when you're drinking, you know that feeling?
I was getting ready to say that's a hangover for me.
Yeah, it's like a hangover, but I didn't get to drink or do anything fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, it sucked. And then just, ripping off clothes because I'm so hot and I'm sitting there like, oh my God, I can't move. So it's not all good and bad. The other thing that I know I am is an empath. I think you are too. I think we need to have a lot more discussion about empaths in the workforce, because we're compassionate people. We care about the work that we're doing. And often we absorb the challenges, the pain, the transition that other people are going through. And we don't have the discernment to know it's not ours, and to be able to like wash that off, or negative energy wash it off. And then it kerfluffles our internals.
I had this conversation yesterday with my business partner, Jim. We went to lunch, and he also is a highly sensitive person. And so he calls me antisocial all the time. So like whenever he like does something like that, he's extroverted. And so like when he does something, he's always like, okay, I'm giving you warning. Like we're going to this place at this time. There are going to be people there. And he tells me I'm antisocial all the time. And so yesterday we were kind of talking about like being a highly sensitive person and like just energy. And I was like, I'm not actually antisocial. It's when I'm around large groups of people, because I can feel everybody's energy, and I can't discern which is mine and which is theirs. And then I come home and I'm sick for 2 days.
Yeah.
Because I'm so exhausted, because it's such an energy drain.
Yeah.
And so I'm not really antisocial. It's a protection of,
I think people need to give that more credit. And, I'm not in love with the way that the world treats sensitive people. I wonder sometimes like, oh, well, she has social anxiety. Maybe she fucking doesn't. Maybe she just can feel things that you can't. Sit down, take a breath, stop judging, stop labeling, stop putting people in boxes. That's what I don't like. I think that's what's really interesting.
Happens with women a lot.
Yeah, I don't know, because she
particularly in the workplace.
Yeah. I'm going to be very vague because I think she may come on our talk show. I had a great conversation yesterday with someone. I'll be very vague. Let's see if I can do this. And it was interesting because I talked to them, and they were in so many different realms, 25, queer, just got her LLC and like celebrating, like that was the biggest thing. And I just kind of wanted to love her for it, because I was like, that's nothing. That doesn't really do anything for you. But it was kind of like she had like launched a website or something. And even that, like I actually kind of understand, but I was like, the LLC, like, okay, yeah. Like really now you just need to be mindful and pay taxes. I don't know why you're so excited. Like, great, good for you. Anyways, but I do remember getting my LLC and feeling very professional about it. But like, she was like, I don't know, she acted like one of my clients that like birth a brand. That's why I was like, oh, I don't know. But going to college, doing all these things, and it's just really exciting. But yeah, I think we can I think we have the ability to be in diverse realms that other people may not enter into, and they just need to treat us with grace and ease. And if I say like I've got energies or something, or like if I say like I'm just not feeling up to myself today, like you need to know what got me there. Like I may have talked to somebody that was suicidal this week. I may have talked to somebody that went through a divorce. I may have talked to someone that lost a child. Like, you need to respect if I'm going through this.
Yeah.
Know? Like, and also a vault of secrets.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I've heard a ton. I've seen a ton. I've been around the block. I know I'm a white privileged female, and however you want to take that, you still, like, that made my earring. It doesn't mean that we don't know and relate to more than what is painted on us.
Yeah. Well, and in the workplace, I mean, being somebody that kind of was in larger organizations for the early part of my career, you know, being in the workplace, it was so very common early in my career for people to be like, don't be so sensitive about it. And it has this stereotype to it of being sensitive, of, oh, you're overly sensitive. And so they make the connection of you're overly sensitive, so you're not good at what you do.
Or you're weak.
Or you're weak.
Straight up. Yeah.
Yeah. Or you're weak. And so it's very stereotyped in the workplace in that regard. And I think that we're starting to see it, that kind of shift a little bit, but not in like large ways, particularly in big organizations that it should. But for sure in small business, it's starting to see a shift because we're talking about it so much more.
Yeah. I also find, like, I got caught up this week, like, facts, not feelings. Well, I have both. I just wanted to be like, yeah. And yeah, even things that, you know, it's interesting. Yeah. Tangent, not relevant. It's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, so my intuitiveness is not like yours. It's it manifests in different ways.
Talk about it.
You know, I mean, I think that we all have our own things. I am also like you, though. I just hear things. I meant to ask you this earlier. Do you get a lot of dreams? Do you dream a lot that then kind of,
unfortunately,
that's not a thing? That's not
I
a
don't
thing
know if this is a woo thing or something else. I'm just going to claim and out myself. I have had sleep problems for many years now. So I take melatonin, and I honestly try and drug myself at night. So I usually don't have dreams. And if I do, they're kind of night terrors. So I don't even think I can speak to that, because I think my dreams are screwed from other things. So unfortunately, I just take that one off
a lot of people
definitely
kind of dream a lot.
Very prophetic. I definitely have a dream symbology journal where it says, like, if you dream about a dolphin or something, but I don't, because my sleep is so screwed up. I never really give my dreams credit. Maybe I should, but I don't, because they're just so messed up from everything else.
Yeah, I'm also not much of a dreamer. I know people that are, like, they have these just like psychic dreams, and that is not something I have. But when I do dream, it is very important. Like, if I actually remember it and I do dreams, I get a lot of visits in my dreams.
Oh, interesting.
So it doesn't happen all the time, but if there's a message to come back, it normally comes through a dream.
I love it.
But mine is just so energy based, you know, just being empathetic and, you know, an empath in that way. It's just, mine's very energy based. And in my business, I haven't leaned into being intuitive. I do with my clients, but not necessarily for myself.
Oh, so, yeah.
You know, so
I know the permission. It's like, it's okay to do this here. It's like,
right. Yeah. And it's just, I find it interesting that, particularly for people like you and me that work with clients, and we kind of, you know, I get clients that ask me things and they're like, well, how do you know that? I'm like, I don't know. I just know, you know, like,
I will. And
it's a combination of facts and data and intuition kind of all mixed together, which is why I don't know what I know, because it's so many factors kind of thrown in there.
And it's another society moment that wants us to say, are you a psychic or not? Like, it's that defining line. You know what? I am. I am, right? And so it's a thing. But I will say, I have always kept mine very coveted and quiet. Like I don't know. And I had no need to. I was never
me too.
hurt for it, teased about it. I wasn't anything weird. I mean, nothing. Nothing. It felt private, to be honest. It was just kind of like, I want this for me. I really don't want to hear what anyone else has to say. And I was very blessed. My family would let me bring home the Quran, a pagan book, a book of shadows, to a Bible. Like I was in all of it. And so I never once, I did remember asking my mom at one time, do you ever worry about me? I'm kind of a Fruit Loop over here. And she's like, no, I think it's really interesting. And the things that you do share are just kind of interesting takeaways. You know, I had my dad help me build what I called my moon cabinet. So we had these built-in floor to ceiling shelves, and he helped me cut like, I don't know, an inch or two off of like 5 of the shelves. So they sunk in, and I had like a door I put on front, but it was a moon face and it cut out like that. Do you know what I mean? So it was like, it was cool. So I was always in a safe place. I will say that not everyone is always in a safe place to explore spirituality, religion, whatever, but I was in a safe place. But it also just felt private to just like, no one else needs to know. If you're interested, like when people come over, they'll see things in my place. Like I have a Ganesh hanging, I have a Buddha, I have the crystals. Like they might ask, and they're like, the heck's this? You know, one of them, the cat sitter, she knew it. She picked up my spare keys, and there's a Greek evil eye, you know, the blue, white, blue, black thing. And she's like, I know this. And I was like, good for you. So it's sometimes a conversation starter too, you know, like whatever. I've got like a Zen frog on the floor. A lot of people love that one. But I never tried to be woo in business. My clients, with my secret, you know, thanks and gratitude, kind of made it a thing. They often will be like, you need Ashley. She sees things, or, oh, just listen to Ashley, like just trust her, or hey Ashley, can you do your thing? I'm like, my thing. You know, or the personas, that's a hard one, because like when I said this and I can see the persona, that's what I've now named it, a persona. It's your iconic persona because it's your ultimate essence. I do have a lot of people be like, what's mine? I will say, when we were talking about drinking earlier, about working and drinking, I don't, when I do have to be semi-mindful. When I drink, I seem to be more in tune and connected. So I do know I have definitely given a reading or two out to random strangers and been like, hey, by the way, you need to know this. And then like walked away, which not exactly under the universal tenets of how it's supposed to be done, but it's a thing.
Well, and like, speaking of like things like that, so in college, I've always been one of those people, I'm fairly kind of like socially awkward. It's hard for me. Like I feel so awkward just to walk up to somebody at parties and be like, hey, I'm Ronnie. Like, let's talk about something. I don't know. So when I was in college, I read a Cosmo article that like a great icebreaker at like parties, particularly to meet guys, was to read palms. And so that's really kind of how I got into it, was I bought a palmistry book so that I could have something to talk about at parties in college.
That's amazing. No, like palmistry, you know, there's so many things. And too, the other thing about the woo world is it's almost like picking a foreign language to speak. It is so intricate and deep. Like this is not easy shit. So like, I appreciate the specialists, our astrology people, our palm readers, our human design people, our anybody that has taken the time to master one of these things. Good on you, because I even feel embarrassed. I'm so novice. I know enough, like a thin layer of everything, a little bit deeper of some, but I mean, even tarot, bloody hell, there's an entire hierarchy, and you know, the oi.
And then they're upside down and it means something different.
And then if it's like over here versus over there, one of my favorite humans, we were talking yesterday and I said, I kind of want to make like an astrology dummy guide for your audience, because she's talking about the 8th house with the node and the moon and the and I get like, a little lost. I can't. I'm like, I know more, not more than the average person. I know something about this. If I'm confused, I'm just slightly worried about those that don't even know what I know. And I don't want to miss people. And I would love to like watch her videos and then be able to pull up my guide and be like, pause. Okay. Moon in the 8th house. Moon means this. 8th house means that. Because that's my analytical side that you talk about that wants to know that. But yeah.
I get a little lost in all of that too.
Yeah.
Because it's so deep.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to show you something I shouldn't. It's too small up there. Hold on. So, like I said, I never meant to do this in business, but someone made me this freak factor.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's like a little hashtag freak factor. I would say it that way because I just felt freakish, like not I'm a freak, but like, whoo, that was weird, like that kind of thing. And so that kind of caught on. And like I said, it was kind of a rumor referral thing that the clients made it a thing more than I made it a thing. I mean, I definitely say like I got a download. So sure, that's in the declaration of woo.
Right.
But I didn't like say I want to be a business intuitive. No offense to everyone that calls themselves that.
Yeah.
Things like you do you, but I didn't do that. It's
yeah.
And I don't want to supercharge my business in that way either, because I feel like that can also, it's a good strategy. So here's the thing. If you want to work with primarily the woo world, it's a good thing to declare as a brand differentiator, and it will put you in a marketplace and position you. Good. That's good if that's your choice.
Right.
I personally want to stay open and welcoming to all, that's my personal choice of how I want to do this. And I just respect whatever's in front of me. If you want to be super Christian and we don't cuss together, I honor that in my clients. And the other ones that are like, fuck this, fuck that, fuck you. Hey, let's talk. Like, I'm down for that too. Like I definitely know my brand is happy to cuss and use profanity, but I'm also respectful of those.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, like while you might call it your clients might call it your freak factor, a lot of business people talk about their superpower.
I mean,
it's the same. I mean, it's the same thing. It's just a different word, and words matter, but
superpower. That's funny. Yeah. Or super normal. Right? Michael Weston, shout out to Michael Weston. He calls it if everyone's normal, super normal. And we all have something, we all have our thing. I think it's leaning into it. I know over so the theme of this last year for me has been own it. Own your authority, own your woo, own who you are, own your identity, own it, just own you, like who you are. So I'm still learning. I don't want to act like I have this mastered in any capacity, but I'm mindful and aware of it. So that part I feel proud of, I guess. Like, yeah, if you want me to bring my full woo, like I'll have clients be like, can you do your thing? Like your thing. I'll be like, yeah, hang on. I just kind of like, I can really switch it on. Or if there's a meeting, I know we're going to be doing that, especially on like what we may end up working together on, the persona, identifying someone's iconic persona. That day, I definitely do all of the things that I spoke about. I will sage the house. I will wear whatever's like calling me, like this is how I want to present myself today and be open. This feels open to me and charged. Like I might have a ring on, I might, whatever I'm doing, I will definitely have water and tea and like candle burning. I get in my space that I know creates that openness, right? So for those days, I'm very mindful of it. Other days, you might just get me showing up from Zoom to Zoom to Zoom to Zoom. But I feel like that's also when you are woo, there's an integrity to it of keeping it pure energy, and you're actually just trying to be a vessel. You're not trying to have answers or know anything. You're just hearing for orange, that, this, and then you like, I honestly, I don't think I've ever told anyone this. I somewhat not black out like in a bad way. I just don't remember what I've said. So I will often
a lot of people
have to re-watch that session. And I often laugh because I'm like, that was a good question. Good job, Ashley. Or like, that was really smart. Who came up with that. Like
that happens a lot.
So channeled. I know a lot of people have told me to take more credit for my work. And every time I'm told that, I say the same thing. I don't feel like I can, because I feel like it comes through me. Like, I know when I'm like, I did that, like I wrote that note, like I did that, but this doesn't feel like I did anything or had any part of it. And so like, it's hard to own it. It's like, own that baby. I didn't make that. Like, I don't know. That's not mine. Okay. Own the baby. That one's mine. So like, I think I'm a pain in the ass for a lot of business coaches, but I'm a me.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, you know, it's just finding our own paths and all of these things. So when I worked for the software company, my boss there was very much a narcissist and an energy vampire. And so, you know, that very, like those first couple of months, we'd have meetings and he'd come in for a 2-hour meeting and I'd go home and I'd feel like I had the flu. You know, I mean, it just drained, he would just suck so much energy out. And it took me like 3 months to figure out that if I wore like all my emerald jewelry, it like protected my energy a little bit better. I wasn't so like exhausted afterwards. So like figuring those things, which is not the same for somebody else.
No,
like, that's very specific to me.
Yeah, there's no like headache Tylenol of this world. It's like, grab your arsenal. Like, that's one thing that I do like about Wicca, pagan, whatever, is that kind of culture, religion, and thought process. There's a lot, it's almost like a mystical toolbox that they will put together whatever they want to create, you know, what they call an altar of sorts. And then also, you know, but we could say that too for Christianity, where you're getting your holy water, you've got your rosary, you've got your Bible, like everybody, white candles like that at the altar, you know, everybody has their things, but I think it's you intentionally setting out to be like, I'm going to build this little box of mine, take the label, take the religion out of it, and just your little, like, it, oh, what does she call it? We got to credit Shauna Van Bogart, Shauna Mackenzie, depending on when you met her, before married or after married. She calls it your spiritual hygiene. And I love that. And I think it's just, you got to create, like we do in our bathrooms, you've got a sick kit and you've got a health kit, you know, vitamins, wherever. You got to create your like woo kit, let's call it that. And just these things that help you and seem to do things. And yeah, you don't always have to know why, but if it works, it works. Like, I'll hex you any day. Sure. There you go. I don't know, or I'll, you know, bless you the next day. It's what works for you in that capacity. You know, I think cats are one for me. It's interesting. I get a lot of, they call it familial energy from these. It's interesting.
But I've said it before. I think Lucy might be my familiar.
Yeah, I know Max was 100%. These two, one for sure. The other one, I am so excited to have a decade together, because I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to learn from her, but
it's something.
It's something, because there is no way she is in my life for no reason, but my meow, 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 meow. Like, also water is a big one. You talked about emeralds. Mine is water. I'm a freak of nature. I shower at least 2 times a day, not because I'm dirty, but because it does something. It like,
do you know your moon sign?
No, not off the top of my head.
Okay. I'd be curious to know what your moon and your rising sign are, just because you're so you are such like a water person, whereas Taurus is very earthbound, which is also still water. I mean, it's still natural, but I would be curious. I bet one of your other, like your rising sign or your moon sign must be a water sign of sorts.
Yeah. I can pull it up and see. I know I'm disappointing Uma right now because she spent such a beautiful amount of time building out my chart. Again, when we say this shit's complicated, like, but I do know my chart makes sense of my wateriness. But I am like a mislabeled star in the universe because I'm supposed to be an earth sign, and like, I mean, the most I did earthy is like, I like fake plants and granola.
Well, I mean, I know that they say that they associate that with signs, but you very much have a lot of Taurus characteristics.
Oh, I know. I'm very Taurus-y, but
I'm very
Taurus. Elemental part.
Yeah, I'm very Taurus-y too, but like my moon sign is a Leo, so it's real fiery. And so like in my head, I'm that way. I might not always be that way externally, but in my head, I'm that way. And then my rising sign is a Cancer. So like my goal on this earth is to learn to have feelings. Like that's my life goal in this lifetime, is to learn how to have feelings, because my rising sign is a Cancer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, the things that you can learn and what you choose to be like, yes, that's for me or not for me. I mean, it's all up for grabs. Again, remember, like you can identify as a Taurus, you can identify as not one. You can, you know, it's all just data, right?
Yeah.
That we talk about data. All I know, I don't know why this made me think of this, but when I was really little, my mom used to say, like, if I was fussy, which I wasn't very fussy as a baby, but like if I was, she would put the plug in the kitchen sink. She had like one of those deep sink things, and she would turn on the faucet and put me in. And anytime she could get me into water, I'd be fine. Like anything. Or she like, and in weird places, like the kitchen sink, that's not usually where you put children.
Well,
I guess it is, but not, I don't know.
A lot of people bathe their babies in the kitchen sink because it's smaller. And
I guess so, but I don't know. I was just like, Mom, what were you like doing? But yeah, but water's always been my thing, you know. If I was upset or something, I do remember my dad taking me out to the front yard and just hosing me down one time, just like I was like, ah. But like it calmed me. It was just my thing. We had a creek that ran behind our house. Like there's just, it's always been around me. Portland has big water element. Chicago has big water element. Like I don't think I could be landlocked and okay.
Yeah, me either.
And
I mean, I grew up landlocked, and it's not. I'm not okay
I noticed
with it.
like water, tea, flavored water. It's just always around, and I get, I don't know, kind of nutty without it. Like, you know, I just made a realization. It's interesting. When I go to the eWomen Network conference in Texas, I feel it. Like, I feel like there's not enough water around. That's weird.
Yeah. Because it's very landlocked.
Yeah. Yeah.
In Dallas. Dallas, right? It's Dallas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dallas, Texas.
Dallas is very landlocked.
Just different things. But yeah.
Yeah. So
I guess it was a desire just to realize it, you know?
Yeah.
Just what was it? Like, why does this thing work? Like, what is this?
I mean, it's so interesting for us to start off this whole topic of, we didn't know what the hell we were going to talk about. And now we've been an hour talking about this.
True. Oh my goodness. Yes. That was another thing I was going to say. It was just 11:11, and I see things like that. Like you start realizing
numbers are not. That's not my thing.
Yeah.
The angel numbers are not my thing.
I see repetitive numbers, but the one I always see is 9/11, which for me has been interpreted that I'm incredibly good in emergency situations or high
interesting
situations, which was also really interesting when I was a lifeguard, when I was a first responder. All of that made sense as to kind of those situations too.
Yeah, that's that's not one of my things. Angel numbers are not something that's a thing for me.
It's not either. So like, here's a great example of it being, is it for you or not for you? I can't deny that I see 9/11 all the time. Hello, sun. Did anybody see that? Just okay, I'll take that. That's the kind of stuff, you know, like, yeah.
Mine's animals. Like I notice, like,
yeah, you definitely have the animal thing.
Yeah, I definitely have the animal thing. I'll notice, like, if I'm at, like, when I walk Lucy, I'll go like a few days in a row where I see a bunch of blackbirds all the time.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like the other day I was sitting here and there was a butterfly, like a big black and yellow butterfly. And I was like, that means something. I don't know what it means, but it means something. Like that doesn't happen. And because it doesn't happen all the time. So I noticed like those are the kinds of signs I get more so than say numbers or anything like that.
And I think when people are going to be like, well, how do I find what mine are? It's like, okay, wait, it's not, how do I figure it out? It's just start being aware. Like as of today, just do your day and be like,
What did I notice?
What did I notice? And don't look too into it. Don't be like, oh my God, the sun came out, therefore it's a sign of da 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 da.
Right.
Like just see. And then over time, you're just going to get more data points to say like, hey, I really don't really see numbers, or oh my God. And it is the thing too. I will say this, it's like red cars. Now that I've said red cars, you're going to see red cars everywhere. Yes. But just, you know, take it with a grain of salt. If you want to see red cars everywhere, then see red cars, put meaning into things. But I think you can also go too far with it too. I do know somebody that, oh my God, every time I'm around her, oh, that means something. And I'm like, they farted. No, it doesn't. Like
it can get a little too far.
It gets a little. And I'm like,
a little too far. Yeah.
But you get to decide where that line is. You get to decide what means something. And also, you know what, maybe if your decision to put numbers meaning something for you, that could be the way. I really do believe that it's like a thing plus the energy together that makes it a thing. But a lot of these, you're not going to really have the ability to choose it. It just kind of chooses you. Like water chose me. I'm not like, you know, I have hugged rocks. I have been hiking. I have tried to like Earth. I don't like it.
I mean, I'm the rock girl here. So
yeah, like, I mean,
don't get me wrong. I don't want to camp. Like I'm not a nature girl in that regard, but I am earthy in that like rocks and, you know, like that kind of earth element definitely is a earth element for me.
Yeah. And as you had a pet peeve earlier, I own mine. I have decided, put energy behind. I hate personality tests. All of this shit I hate.
I love them and I hate them.
Stand it. Putting me, okay, today I'm a Taurus. Now I'm a projector. Now I'm an ENTJ, whatever. Now I'm this, now I'm that. Like, I am so tired. And this might be my own issue. So excuse me as everyone sees this publicly, but I am so fed up with people and things putting me in boxes, telling me what I am and defining me by that. Like, well, what about the fact I have an entire leg outside that? Like, does that do anything? Well, wait, I just want people to break through that, because I think that's what creates some of this, what I was bitching about earlier about this, like, complacency and default and just not choosing more and just allow, like, just baselining. I think because you allow that to be the outer limit for you. Like as a Taurus, these are my things. Like that's as far as it goes. And I somehow, I don't know why I chose to do this in this life, but I fucking jumped the outer layer and I'm like running around the outside, like, y'all come over here. Like, so it bothers me because I see a lot of people, especially in the branding world, they come to me and their heart wants to be on the other side of the wall and everything they've been told is on this side of the wall. And they need somebody to just be like, yeah, hop over. And they're like, I can hop over. Yeah.
It's
like
so prevalent in business.
Oh my God.
It's so prevalent in business.
There's no right
all
way.
The shoulds. Yeah. All the shoulds we do.
Yes. I talk about the should be shower. It's my way of doing it, but get into the shower and think of, I should be this, I should be that, I should do this, I need to do that, all the things, and just think of them until they all wash away. And eventually, if you get to a cold shower, real helps make them go away real fast. And if you forget, then get back in and you've got a cold shower to help you get to it. But it's like, I find it starts with these labels of the difference between an entrepreneur and a business owner, the difference of a, first
CEO.
year. Oh my God, like, go away. I'm talking to somebody right now. He has to be the most successful person I know. He just has to be like, and he doesn't do anything by the norm. Like they were asking me about an event coming up. Don't ask me, because even if I told you, everything you touch goes to gold. Do it your way. Like, don't worry about this. Like, I did have a question about, like, don't you want this to get bigger reach? Like, it's a great moment for you, but they only invite the client list. Like, when you want to tell like the rest of the public, like, everybody what's going on, but you know what? That's your way. And You do you. Like there's, again, woo, whatever it is. But I think that there is a grounding cord, whether it's you being their marketing COO, business strategist. I think there's my help of being an outside person. We can't see our own eyebrows. We need perspective. I do think there's a way of testing the limits, running around the outside wall and coming back in for sanctuary and then running around again. Like there's all of that. But I am, oh my God, I'm pissed right now with this freaking, and you know what I hate about it so much is it creates internal limiting beliefs that then block us up. How dare you give me a should? God, dude, that's gonna stick. Like you know, and so I just wish for myself, for everybody, and I'm the worst at it. I'm a perfectionist. So like, it's a blessing in my line of work, but it is a curse for how tight I can clutch. You should do it that way, Ashley. You could be this. Why aren't you doing it that? Like, wow. And I just.
That's why we're course junkies too.
Oh, yes.
That kind of relates to that.
I think I'm a data whore too. I forget, I said a course whore, data whore. I don't know. I love knowledge. The more I have to work with, the better I can create. So I think my thirst for knowledge, I can hear somebody, I don't know who that was, but don't call it data whore. It's thirst for knowledge. Oh my God, go away. But like, I know when clients, fill out my application, one of the things I look at is how in depth they answer, because the more you answer is better for me. Some people may hate that. They might be like, don't write a narrative for me. Well, or a whole story. It's better for me if you do, because I can work with more data pieces. I don't mind the succinct person. That's a decisive person that works, but I'm going to have to pull it out of you.
Right.
So I know.
For a conversation that started with absolutely nothing to talk about. No, it's such a fun conversation, I feel like. And like,
I do too.
These are things. So this is why we started this, right? Like, these are the conversations that we, like, I had the same, not the exact same conversation, but a very similar conversation with my business partner yesterday. So I think these are conversations that business owners have kind of in secret
100%
and don't really talk about, and we really should. I just said the terrible word of should, but you get what I mean. Like it's these conversations, while yes, tactically we might need to know that TikTok is the new thing and that's how we're going to reach certain target, blah blah blah, right? But when we're really talking about how businesses run and how we make $1 million or make fuck you money, these are the conversations that are what they're about, right? Like, it's not tactics.
No, it's an identity and it's a being. And I hate that because I'm still learning it and still understanding it.
Well, and this is the thing, we always will be.
Yes.
There's never an end to it.
It's always the connection and conversation that yields conversion. And I think that I do think is the golden core, that no matter what course you take into it, understand it. I do feel pretty confident in saying, if anyone is looking for the secret to business, it's connections and conversation
and conversion.
Right. That part too. But I mean, like, you don't even get conversion without connection and conversation. I feel like that is the golden nugget of all things.
I mean,
we get so distracted by all this other shit. And it's mind blowing. But I agree. I do think that these are the conversations that happen. That's what I was going to say too. It's like before, 2020 and COVID and everything, that we're just so locked out now of this moment. So unless you're working for a business, especially, I know I'm worried about this person that's, 25, just got up her LLC. Who are you going to talk to? How are you going to get around the right people? It's not going to be how you effort to the top. That doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, and I've said this even as a young person in my career, looking for jobs, right? Like I never once got a job because of what I know.
No. No, not a single, not a
You
single.
know, I mean,
If anything, we got disqualified because we were overqualified.
Yeah. I mean, I've always like
I know.
any job or client that I've really ever gotten has been who I know, not what I know.
100%. Everything is who you know in perfect timing. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean,
Absolutely.
sure, I've sent in a resume and somebody's called me back for it, but then I've got to make a connection on like who I know.
Yeah. When I did have jobs, I just walked into places that I loved. So like California Pizza Kitchen, White House Black Market, whatever it was, even the Matchmaker. And I had a conversation with the manager and I was like, I don't even think you're hiring. That's great, but I'd like to help out. What do you need? Like, I was so interesting in how I job hunted. I just like, I want to work there. Let's go work there. Like,
yeah. I mean, the only reason I got my first job in high school was because my best friend worked there.
yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah, that's the secret to it. It really is.
Yeah.
Love it. Well,
should we end on that note?
Because
this has been the longest we've been.
Longest video, yeah. Sorry, everybody, we're not sorry, but I hope you get a lot out of it. If you make it to this point, I think we should tell them a couple of things. Number one, don't forget that we offer hot seats.
Yes.
So if you're interested in hopping on, you want to be the center of attention and both a marketing and a branding focus. We will help you in any way that we can, giving you our free insight and advice as we would for any of our private clients. So even if you are in need of like a C's candy sample of us, that's how you can do it.
Yep.
I know I offer free complimentary 30-minute brand strategy calls. If things are going tough right now and you're just like, I need to talk to somebody, I offer that. Ronnie has incredible VIP intensives that are not free, but fabulous and definitely something to consider if you're looking to get a taste with working with her. And let us know if you get to this point, please comment, like, let us know what you're thinking. Like, we're here just openly sharing, like, it'd be great to hear from you. So
yeah, I'd be curious to know other people's like opinions on these kinds of topics too.
Yeah. Where are you on the woo spectrum? Have you found your woo? Do you know your woo? Or are you like, I don't know, but what you just said clicked something. I'm gonna go hang out at a woo store today or a bookstore, whatever you want to do. Yeah. And then what do we talk? Ascension sickness. Before that, I think we were figuring out what was going to be downloaded and told us to talk about. So I don't know what we talked about before that.
I'm glad I asked the question.
Yeah. Thank you, Ronnie, for asking that question. All right, everyone. We will see you Thursdays live here on Facebook or Ronnie's YouTube channel.
For the replay.
Connect with us. Have conversations with us. We're literally here waiting for you. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.